Two common categories of art are symbolic and realistic, although I'd venture to say that all art, even when deemed realistic, is still only symbolic at its core. Even photography, which creates a closer match to reality than most other art forms, is still symbolic in essence. Reality is far too dynamic and fluid to be relegated to copying the locations of a few thousand photons at one point in time, viewed from one perspective. Remembering this is freeing to the artist. It reminds us that even at our best, we're not here to capture every aspect of reality, but merely to point to one or two aspects we find interesting or worth paying attention to. Hands are one of those aspects. Interesting because they're our immediate interface with physical reality, and their portrayal on a two-dimensional surface is one of the common banes of the artist's existence. Why is that? It's not as if they're any more or less complex than faces or arms or feet. I think the answer can be half found in the fact that faces and arms are at once more accepted by a symbolic visual, whereas hands, being viewed more often than faces and arms, are so familiar that we desire a more accurate symbol. This familiarity breeds the other half of the problem. We intrinsically feel that since they're so familiar, they should be simple to understand and therefore easy to portray. Their very commonality places them in a part of the brain which subconsciously says, "This won't be hard." But then the reality we create in our sketchbook tells us otherwise. Like every problem in life, when not given its due attention, the difficulty of drawing hands grows with every reduction in our estimation of said difficulty. To give the trials before us the attention they deserve is not only the first step to overcoming them, but the only door through which we may enter to conquer them fully. If the portrayal of hands on paper is the dragon we must slay, we must enter its lair with all the armor and purpose of will at our disposal. A bit dramatic, but the principle remains. That being said, it would be foolish to go out hunting dragons when our own house is filled with mice. Thus, to be able to fight the dragon, we may have to practice conquering the smaller beasts, which festoon our house with their poo and eat all our snacks. This metaphor is falling apart, but what I'm trying to say is start with the smaller problems. Reduce the issue to its most manageable size, not in an attempt to avoid reality, but to grow one's ability to deal with it effectively in whatever form it manifests. Thus, my approach is to start with the simplest but most accurate symbol I can create and add complexity as my understanding improves. It will never be more than a symbol, but with patience, it will at least become a symbol worth thinking about.